Hi guys, today is day 2 of my 90 days of going live here on Facebook. And if you're watching, I am, and you don't know what I'm doing, my initiative is to go live for 90 days to challenge myself to show up more on social media and to keep my word to myself. One of the things I have struggles with is sometimes I break promises to myself. I'm pretty good at keeping my word when it comes to other people. It is something I've struggled with for many years. But I'm keeping my word to myself by showing up here in this space. So, for those of you who are new to me, my name is Lacy, and I am a holistic, integrative health and wellness coach. And I've been in this naturopathic space since 2008. I started out as an office manager. I was a work study student for the Wenatchee Valley College. I was in the medical lab tech program, and I ended up moving over to the medical assistant program in the Wenatchee Valley College, and I got my nursing assistant certification as well, and I used to work in convalescent care. And when I was 22, I was going to the Wenatchee Valley College, so I was working in Arby's. I was working for a long time. I worked at fast food, and I worked in Taco John's. I worked at Movie Gallery for a while. I was a supervisor there, but then I worked at Arby's. When I moved here, I had worked at Arby's in Douglas, Wyoming, and then I worked at Arby's here in Wenatchee, Washington. And I was 20 years old. I was about 188 pounds, very unhealthy. I ate nothing but Arby's every single day. I literally was eating fast food every day for every meal. And I remember sitting on the steps one day, talking to my mom on the phone about what I was going to do with my life because I had just moved out of Wyoming to Washington to escape meth addiction and just change my life. And so I was sitting there on the steps smoking a Marlboro Red, talking to my mom on the phone when I found the Wenatchee Valley College program for medical assisting or medical lab tech, and I decided to go do it, and I became a certified nursing assistant. I worked in convalescent care for a while, and then I was given a work study position. I'll never forget, I had a job interview at Starbucks, and they wanted to make me a manager, but the second interview came up and I had accidentally slept in, so I missed it. And I was looking for a job, so I went to Wenatchee Valley College to the work study office and asked for a work study job, and they assigned me at Alpine Valley Wellness Center, which was a naturopathic clinic. At the time, I had thought that it was a medical marijuana clinic because marijuana wasn't legal back then in 2008 here in Washington State. It was legal for medical use, but it wasn't legal for recreational. So I thought that naturopathic medicine was simply marijuana use, and boy, was I ever surprised when I found out what it really was, and it thrilled, really. So I ended up getting this work study position, and at the Wenatchee Valley College, they gave me a work study position for Alpine Valley Wellness, and I'll never forget going to the interview. Back then I was 22, I was gothic, I was super gothic, and I remember putting on a button-up shirt that just didn't really fit me because I was a little overweight, and like I was sweating, and it was just not good. It was like polyester, and I had all these piercings, and I had to take out. I had my nose pierced, my eyebrow, my lip, my tongue, and I had all of my ears were full. I was totally just, I was just a punk, and I went there, and they kind of looked at me like, who is this girl? But they did a work interview, and so I had to file charts, and I actually did it really quickly and really well, and so they ended up hiring me because I was a good worker. And long story short, I worked my way into office management because I had switched out of medical lab tech to become a medical assistant because it was just more in alignment with where I was going in my career at the clinic at Alpine Valley Wellness. And I just developed a great love for naturopathic medicine, and I remember going to see Dr. Thomas for the first time and writing out my diet diary. I'll never forget. A lot of these moments I'll never forget. I keep saying that. But I filled out this diet diary, and every single meal was fast food, and she was like, flabbergasted. She couldn't believe that I ate that much fast food. Literally, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Wendy's, Arby's, McDonald's, you name it. And she challenged me to start eating real food, and I didn't even know what that meant. And I remember one of my best friends, Shannon Hayes, she was living in Portland and going to the Integrative Institute for Nutrition. And so I went down to Portland to visit her, and she says to me, "What do you actually eat?" And I was like, "Well, I eat these Amy's meals and these frozen foods." And she's like, "You need to eat real food, girl. I'm going to show you what real food is." And so she took me around Portland and showed me what veganism was, because at the time she was vegan and I was on my way to being vegan. And I discovered that I actually really liked real food and vegetables, and I was so excited. So I ended up enrolling after I graduated from certified medical assistant at the Wenatchee Valley College. I decided to go into the same school as Shannon, the Integrative Institute for Nutrition, and become a health coach. And so it changed my life. It rocked my world. During that time, I found out that I had celiac disease, and I wasn't able to eat gluten, and so I had eliminated gluten from my diet. And I was married. I got married at a really young age to my high school boyfriend, and we were drug addicts together. We did meth together, and he actually cooked meth back when we were really young. But we were just so naughty together, and he never wanted to change. God bless him, he's a good guy, but he just never wanted to make those changes, and I started making these changes. And so during my time at the Integrative Institute for Nutrition, I actually we would fight in the grocery store about food, and like he was a cook, and I was a my grandpa's calling me. Grandpa, if you're watching, I love you. I'll call you back. Anyways, he was a cook, and he was a chef, and I was changing my diet, and he didn't like that because he was a cook at, mom and pop restaurants, so he cooked a certain way. And I started changing my diet. We would fight in Safeway, like have these knockout, drag down fights about label reading and eating gluten-free and, and eating real food. And finally, it came to this point where I was learning a lot about Monsanto and GMOs and all that sort of thing. And it came to a head, and the defining moment was when his brother and him planted GMO corn in my garden. That was the last straw for me. And so, long story short, we ended up divorcing, and I had actually met Jesse, my current husband, and it wasn't very kind of me what I did. So I actually blew my own life up during that time. But the point of this story is where I got started in naturopathic medicine. And so that was 2008. I started, and then fast forward to 2012 is when I graduated from the Integrative Institute for Nutrition. And it just changed my life, and I was never the same. And I continued to work at Alpine Valley Wellness Center, and I ended up leaving there, and that's another story for another day. But that's where I got my start in naturopathic medicine, and I really owe everything to, not everything, but I owe a lot of praise to Dr. Jacqueline Thomas for teaching me. And I know we kind of had a rough go at some point, but if it wasn't her, for her, then I would have not been able to be the person I am. So thank you if you're watching this. So that's how I got started in naturopathic medicine, and that's my life for today. Day 2. I will show up tomorrow and tell you more about my story. I hope that you guys are having a lovely day. I gotta run. Bye.